caught my wife with 2 men. I destroyed everything and took my revenge. Hi everyone, I'm 33. Before I begin my story, let me ask you a question. What would you do if you walked in on your wife, whom you completely trusted, in bed with 2 other men? I met my wife Tracy, who's 29, at the movies. I had come to a movie premiere with some friends, and she was there with her group of girlfriends. That day, something sparked between us, and soon we started dating. We were together for a year before we got married. What started as a simple friendship became one of the most bittersweet and emotional relationships of my life. In the beginning, marrying Tracy felt like a blessing. We were happy together, and I did everything I could as her husband to support her dreams and inspire her to become her best self. The first 2 years of our marriage were solid. Tracy was kind, caring, and intelligent. I'd say she was everything I ever dreamed of in a woman. Beautiful, well-mannered, with a great personality. And most importantly, she was honest. That's what I valued most about her, honesty. Tracy worked at a diner, and I was a graphic designer working for a company that made banners and billboards. We both earned a decent living, but I paid most of the bills at home because Tracy was saving her money for her dream. Even before we got married, she told me that her childhood dream was to become an actress, but she never had the chance to pursue it because her parents didn't support her ambitions. They insisted she pick a different major in college, believing that acting wasn't a respectable or serious profession. When Tracy shared her dream with me and asked if I'd be okay with her trying to make it happen, I supported her wholeheartedly. I knew what it felt like to have a dream and not be able to chase it. I had my own regrets, so I encouraged her to join drama clubs, take volunteer roles in plays, and participate in anything that would help her grow as an actress. We also planned that in the future, she'd go to a formal acting academy once we had saved enough money. I supported her not only because she was passionate, but because she was truly talented. Sure, she could be dramatic and moody at times, but that only made her a better performer. Before we even met, she had already taken some acting courses and probably watched 1,000 acting tutorials on YouTube. That showed me how serious she was, and I didn't want to be the one to destroy her dream. We agreed to postpone having children because of her plans to study. We thought we'd start a family after she finished school. I believed that by then, she'd be landing good roles in theater or even films. Honestly, I think I pushed her more than anyone else did. I encouraged her to audition, to get involved in plays, to let the world see how talented she was. I wanted her to succeed. I wanted the best for her. When Tracy asked if I was okay with her pursuing acting, we were still in our first year of marriage. Back then, everything was perfect between us. We never fought, not even once. She was sweet as a peach, respectful, loving, and attentive. That first year, Tracy kept applying online for various volunteer acting roles, but she kept getting rejected. At some point, she got tired of the rejections and wanted to focus on her regular job instead. But I kept encouraging her not to give up. Luckily, a few months after our first anniversary, she finally got a response. She was invited to audition for a local theater production that was looking for fresh actors. She was over the moon when she got the news, and I was genuinely happy for her. A great bonus was that the auditions were happening right here in our city, so she had plenty of time to prepare. On audition day, Tracy nailed it and got cast in the play. She was glowing with excitement when she told me the news. Another bonus was that the theater actually paid the actors, and rehearsals were only on weekends. What I didn't expect was how much she would change once rehearsals began. At first, everything seemed normal. Our routine didn't change much. We still talked, lived our life as usual. The only difference was that we had less time together on weekends because rehearsals took up all her time. She'd wake up early, clean, cook, go to rehearsal, and return home late at night. Even though I wasn't thrilled about how little time we had together, I didn't say anything. I didn't want to ruin her first serious opportunity. Besides, she was earning more on weekends at the theater than she did all week at her regular job. Over time, though, the distance between us started growing. To keep myself busy on weekends, I got into video games, hung out with friends, or invited them over. These are friends I had known since school and college, so I trusted them completely. One evening, while talking about Tracy and how much time her new role was taking, one of my friends, Eric, gave me some unsolicited advice. He said I should keep an eye on her. He'd heard stories about some actresses sleeping with directors to get better roles. I brushed it off and told him Tracy wasn't like that. She didn't need to sleep with anyone to get ahead. She was genuinely talented. Foolish me. They didn't bring it up again after that, but they did repeat their advice to stay vigilant, especially since beginner actors and actresses like Tracy were often vulnerable to temptation. I still didn't take their words seriously. I was 100% convinced that Tracy would never do anything to hurt me or ruin our marriage. But the seed of doubt had been planted. I began asking Tracy small, casual questions, trying not to sound suspicious. She noticed the change in me and started complaining about how I was acting and questioning her too much. Eventually, I told her what my friend had said. She just laughed. "I would never cheat on you," she said. "I love you too much for that. You're the best husband in the world. Only a foolish and ungrateful woman would betray someone like you." Those words calmed me. I felt safe again. I believed her. I was sure she'd never cheat. But I was wrong. She had already started cheating long before that conversation. I just hadn't seen it. Over the next few weeks, Tracy changed completely. It's hard to describe in words. Our conversations became strained. The excitement she used to come home with was gone. Before, she used to come in all bubbly, telling me everything that happened at rehearsal. Even though I never attended, I knew the names of everyone she worked with, what they looked like, their personalities, because she shared everything with me. We were that close. I always looked forward to her weekend stories. And then, suddenly it all stopped. Tracy became defensive. She got offended over almost anything I said. Even old jokes that used to make her laugh now made her lash out, like I was attacking her. She changed her wardrobe. She started wearing dresses that she only wore to rehearsals, and they were much more revealing. I told her several times that I didn't like them, but she ignored me. "It's fashion," she said. "You just don't get it." I assumed she was trying to keep up with the other actresses. She was always competitive when it came to style. Still, the thought of infidelity started creeping into my mind. It got worse when she began changing her hairstyle every week and spending hours on the phone with some guy. Someone she claimed was just a scene partner from the play. One day, she did something that truly pushed me over the edge. I confronted her, and she screamed at me and walked out. That was the first time she had ever behaved like that. I knew something had to change. Later that evening, I was talking with my friend again. They came over and said, without a doubt, that Tracy was cheating on me. Despite all the signs and changes, I still didn't want to believe it. I had done so much for her. I argued with them, insisting that maybe Tracy was just going through a rough patch and taking it out on me. But my friends were firm. They said I was blind, and if I truly wanted to know the truth, I needed to hire a private investigator. I didn't like the idea of someone following Tracy. It felt invasive, but because of her sudden behavioral changes, I finally gave in. The next week, I found a PI online and hired him to follow her for 7 days. On the third day of surveillance, Tracy didn't come home after rehearsal. The next morning, she said she had gone to a club for one of the actresses' birthdays and stayed overnight at a nearby hotel with the others because it was safer than traveling home so late. The worst part? She hadn't even told me about the party. I had been calling her until 3 a.m. When she finally picked up, she claimed she didn't hear the phone because of the loud music. Later, she even said she had told me about the party. A lie. I knew she was lying, but I also knew I'd soon have proof. The PI had been watching her the entire week. I hadn't heard from the detective yet, but when he finally called, I was visiting my parents out of town. I was already driving back when he told me, "I have something to show you." Instead of going home, I went straight to meet him. Tracy didn't know I was coming back that day. We'd talked the day before. It was Friday, and I told her I'd be home Monday morning. I said I wanted to spend a little more time with my parents. But in reality, I returned on Saturday. When I met the PI, he showed me the evidence, and it shattered me. He had photos and video footage of Tracy with some blonde guy, her lover. They were caught kissing in a car, shopping together, eating dinner. There was also video from the night she was supposedly at that birthday party at the club, the night she ignored my calls. On the footage, it was clear she spent the entire night with that guy. They went to the club, then left around 10 p.m. and went to his house. That's where she spent the night. It was undeniable. She had seen my calls and still ignored them. I was in shock. Tracy, the woman I thought I'd build a life with, had destroyed everything. Then the detective added something even more painful. She's not home alone. She's with him, right now, in your house. Apparently, after filming them that evening, the PI had followed them back to my place. He left only to call me and give me the update. When he told me that, I was boiling with rage. I was so angry I couldn't even drive. The detective had to take me home himself. When we pulled into the driveway, I saw it. A blue Toyota Venza parked right there. The same car from the photos and videos. I knew instantly. Tracy and her lover were inside. The detective offered to come in with me. Everything after that is a blur. Next thing I remember, I was inside the house. I opened the bedroom door, and there she was, Tracy, with two men, right in the middle of it. I don't even remember who moved first. Tracy was wearing sheer silk lingerie. Her hands were cuffed to the bedposts. One guy tried to get up, but the handcuffs held him. I lunged at the blonde. The other guy grabbed his clothes and ran like a coward. Tracy didn't know I was coming back that day. We talked the day before. It was Friday, and I told her I'd be home Monday morning. I said I wanted to spend a little more time with my parents. But in reality, I returned on Saturday. When I met the PI, he showed me the evidence, and it shattered me. He had photos and video footage of Tracy with some blonde guy, her lover. They were caught kissing in a car, shopping together, eating dinner. There was also video from the night she was supposedly at that birthday party at the club, the night she ignored my calls. On the footage, it was clear she spent the entire night with that guy. They went to the club, then left around 10 p. and went to his house. That's where she spent the night. It was undeniable. She had seen my calls and still ignored them. I was in shock. Tracy, the woman I thought I'd build a life with, had destroyed everything. Then the detective added something even more painful. She's not home alone. She's with him, right now, in your house. Apparently, after filming them that evening, the PI had followed them back to my place. He left only to call me and give me the update. When he told me that, I was boiling with rage. I was so angry I couldn't even drive. The detective had to take me home himself. When we pulled into the driveway, I saw it. A blue Toyota Venza parked right there. The same car from the photos and videos. I knew instantly. Tracy and her lover were inside. The detective offered to come in with me. Everything after that is a blur. Next thing I remember, I was inside the house. I opened the bedroom door, and there she was, Tracy, with two men, right in the middle of it. I don't even remember who moved first. Tracy was wearing sheer silk lingerie. Her hands were cuffed to the bedposts. One guy tried to get up, but the handcuffs held him. I lunged at the blonde. The other guy grabbed his clothes and ran like a coward. But what is marriage if you have to suspect your partner every time they buy a new dress or get quiet after work? I just didn't believe it could happen to me. The most frustrating part? She still keeps calling me, over and over again. And now, I'm seriously thinking about revenge. I have the video, and I want to show it to her director. Update number 1 high again. Thanks to everyone who commented. I'm glad most of you don't think I overreacted. Someone suggested I find out who the second guy in the video was. Well, I did. Guess what? He's currently dating Tracy's director. Yep. The man directing her stage play is in a relationship with the blonde guy from the video. Can you imagine the chaos when he finds out that Tracy seduced his boyfriend? Oh, and by the way, Tracy came back again 3 days ago. She behaved terribly, with a neck swelling from crying, looking all miserable. Unfortunately for her, I had friends at my house at that moment. They didn't say anything to her, but their looks and behavior really pissed her off. She was angry at the fact that I was sitting with friends and ignoring her, and she screamed, "So, Mike, you're letting your friend treat your wife like this just because of some petty argument between us?" All this time, Tracy was begging me for forgiveness on the porch. I didn't go out, I just stayed inside and listened. But when she shamelessly said I was kicked out of the house, I was ready to tell her everything I thought. My friend stopped me, and it was just in time. I was so angry I was ready to defend myself and wanted this to be presented in court. Before leaving, Tracy made a scene talking about all our promises about how I swore to grow old with her. I was boiling with anger, but couldn't do anything, even if I wanted to. After waiting a bit and hearing nothing from me, she asked about the lower academy, which I promised to pay for. I want to go out and say, go ask your lover for support now, but I just wanted her to leave, so I kept quiet. In the end, she left, head down, having achieved nothing. I already contacted a divorce lawyer. Once the paperwork is ready, he will send it to her for signing. As for the places, I will do as you advised. I understand that, for now, the video with the director might not destroy her foundation, but it will definitely ruin everything she worked on for the last few months. The fact that Tracy slept with her director's boyfriend only strengthened my desire for revenge. Thanks to everyone. There will be another update soon. Update 2. Hello, everyone. I'm writing this update with so much enthusiasm because things turned out much worse for Tracy than I expected after the last update. It took me 2 weeks to find her director online, and I did. He is just starting his career as a director in the film industry, but is already showing great promise. We agreed to meet, and he actually came. He was intrigued when I said I wanted to show him something related to his partner, an actress. Today, I didn't waste any time. We exchanged the usual polite phrases, and I immediately showed him the video with his boyfriend, the blonde, and Tracy. He was so disappointed and crushed that he started crying. No kidding. He confessed that he suspected his boyfriend was fooling around with someone from the cast, but he had no proof. He also said that the guy had already cheated on him once, but he forgave him because he swore it was all under the influence of alcohol. Honestly, I wasn't really interested in that. What mattered to me more was how the director would handle Tracy and her lover. When I asked him what he was going to do with them, he said he hadn't decided yet. I replied that if he showed weakness, I would just let them go, especially after Tracy had betrayed him like this. Long story short, he fired both Tracy and her blonde guy. I don't know if he broke up with his boyfriend, but Tracy was definitely left with nothing. When she was fired, I wanted to know her real thoughts, watching her hard work crumble to dust. I wanted her to feel what it's like to give yourself 100% to something and then lose it all because of someone else. By the time she got fired, the divorce papers were already ready, and my lawyer had sent them to her. On the day she received them, Tracy called me and begged me not to ruin everything we had built for so long. I told her she had destroyed it the moment she thought about cheating. I told her that I was the one who showed the video to the director, thus ruining months of her work. I knew she would flip out, and sure enough, she did. She accused me of being dependent and said I just couldn't see that she could be a contender for her dream, but I couldn't. I just laughed because I realized she was just trying to turn everything to her advantage and hung up the phone. 2 weeks ago, she was backing up the newspaper, and now I'm writing this update as a divorced man. Yes, it hurts, but I'm glad she's no longer in my life. Thanks to everyone for the comments and support. Well, leave your opinion about this story in the comments. What do you think? Is such behavior acceptable when someone has a creative profession? Yes, I understand that the vast majority will say no, of course. It's absolutely unacceptable. But think about it, because a creative profession is concerned with the fact that a person needs to get some inspiration. And very often, people get inspiration precisely through new affairs. Well, and various related things. For example, how can an actress feel the sting of betrayal without infidelity? How can she understand betrayal without experiencing it? How can one feel new passion without considering the new object of that passion? Anyway, I'm expressing my opinion, and I'm sure you'll burn me for it. So let's move on to the current story. See you soon.